And I was asked to sort of talk about population. I got into, started looking at numbers and so on, and I realized that you could come up with any set of numbers in the world on what populations would be, and I decided I couldn't pursue that in a very fruitful way. But I did take some numbers from a report that the Water Advisory Committee has prepared to establish one water use scenario or model to run against the USGS groundwater model that's in preparation. And it doesn't make the population numbers fact, but I'd say these are fairly conservative numbers. It's referred to as the general plan scenario because the growth envisioned comes from general plans in the communities and in the county for the upper and middle Verde watershed. So the estimate of 2006 population was used is around 200,000. The 2050 population is around 570,000. That's an annual growth rate of about 2.4%. Current 2006 total water demand throughout the upper and middle Verde watersheds in this analysis is estimated at around 45,000 acre-feet, and the 2050 total demand is estimated at about 72,000 acre-feet. I'm not prepared to argue the pros and cons of those numbers. I'd say that they're fairly conservative estimates of both population growth and water use. If you compare the population and the water demand, you discover that in 2006, if you simply divide the population into the water demand, you come up with an average daily use per person of 197 gallons. In this estimate, using these numbers from this table, the GPCD, gallons per citizen per day, is 113. I don't know whether those numbers are realistic. I will say that the town of Chino Valley, I'll say this, that all of the communities are trying to do their best to make water use more efficient, and they are making progress in doing that. The town of Chino Valley has ordinances in place that very severely limit the use of new groundwater, imported groundwater, for new developments within the town of Chino Valley. And the limitation is they can be used for no outside watering. And they are certainly expect to be at the low end, probably a number better than this one for their gallons per citizen per day. Now, another factor that goes into this is effluent recharge. And effluent recharge is used within the AMA. The effluent, the sewage goes to the sewage treatment plant. It's treated, and the treated wastewater then is returned to the aquifer in settling ponds or asettling pond. The current amount that's happening to for 2006 is around 2,200 acre-feet a year. This scenario anticipates something approaching 22,000 acre-feet per year, a difference of about 5% of the pumped water now, maybe 30% in 2050. But I have the word "but" with a question mark there, because I think there's a growing awareness and concern that treated effluent, at least as it's treated right now, still has a significant component of what are called emerging contaminants. They include pharmaceuticals, they include endocrine disruptors, and so on. They remain in fairly small quantities, but the problem is that we don't know enough about the efficacy of the groundwater system itself to remove those contaminants. And in fact, there are so many contaminants that we don't have a very good handle on exactly what they all are or how to treat them. So I think that the idea of treating effluent and recharging it is a good one. It's a good way to provide some mitigation to our problems of ever increasing pumpage. But I think we really have to address the question about whether we are treating the water to a sufficient degree to make this a really good idea, or are we going to get some decades down in the future and discover that really isn't, that water which has been returned to the aquifer isn't very good for us. We already know that it causes sexual dysfunction and gender changes and so on in critters other than humans who live in the rivers. So these are the net demands. So I think this is interesting. Now, with respect to the Big Chino, this report also considers the possibility that the Yavapai Ranch, when developed, will have a population of around 45,000, using something close to 7,000 acre-feet per water. The CVCF Ranch envisions 20,000. Now, these are numbers that come from county plans. They're not just pulled out of air. They use a GPCD of 134 to calculate those numbers. Not quite as optimistic as that one. Big Chino Valley is essentially all either private land or state trust land. There's a huge amount of developable land there. So these two ranches are important, but they're not all of the issue. There's a lot more development possible there. In addition to that, there is the potential for importation to the AMA, best estimated for the moment at least, as around 18,000 acre feet. That includes the current approximately 8,000 acre feet approved by ADWR for addition from Big Chino Valley for addition to Prescott's assured water supply. That number is under appeal by some parties to make it bigger and by some parties to make it smaller. And there are about 10,000 acre feet per year of water that is available for retirement of historic irrigation in the Big Chino Valley that is available for importation to the towns in the Prescott AMA. The point is that even without considering all the development that could occur in Big Chino Valley, we're already looking at vastly overcommitting the water resource of the Big Chino Valley and putting it into a state of groundwater mining. I was sort of asked to touch on the Verde Valley, and that's more than I can handle. So what I say is that the same principles that we've talked about here in the Big Chino and the Prescott AMA apply just as much in the Verde Valley. Fundamentally, water removed from the aquifer system doesn't reach the river. You can imagine what that implies. Thanks.